What's up out there, Liquid Trucking, and welcome into episode 95 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I am your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We got a lot to get to today, but first and foremost, I do want to take a second because we're coming up on it. It's just a few days away. The Liquid Trucking Jamboree, the third annual employee jamboree. Liquid Trucking's putting it on, celebrating 35 years. We'll have the first annual Liquid Trucking Truck Rodeo. We will have all sorts of activities for the entire family. Barbecue ribs and chicken by driver Matt Cleach. Drinks and other food options available. We'll have a cornhole tournament, a closest to the pin golf competition, life-size Jenga game, a bounce house for the kids, swag bags full, and fun merch and hats that will be given out. Now, you guys received a text from the company back on the 10th of September through the text program. So if you have not RSVP'd for the Jamboree and Cornhole yet, go find that text message from September 10th and click the link because it's got everything you need. In fact, I'm on the webpage right now. You can RSVP. You can put your name in there. You put how many people you want. And yeah, it's just simple, but you should do it because we want to make sure to have enough for everybody because we're expecting a lot of people. And I do say we because your boy's going to be there. I know I've said that a lot. It's not really a surprise unless you're just hearing it for the first time, in which case, party, I'm going to be out there. Can't wait. I am actually going to be your host, your MC for the Liquid Trucking Employee Jamboree, and I cannot wait. I've got special shirts made for me and the other people on my team that are going to be out there helping me, and it's going to be nothing but handshakes and smiles all day long, maybe even a few bad jokes into the microphone, but we will keep it family-friendly, very important. I know there's going to be kids out there, so I've got the family-friendly switch. It's already on, okay? Make sure you go find that text message and RSVP because that's exciting stuff, man. We are right around the corner, and it seems like we've been planning this thing for so long now. But I can't wait. I'm there. Okay, I know that I've told you guys before that we record this podcast a little bit in advance, so I want you to know when I say I'm there. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, September 24th, the day that it launches. Maybe that could be construed as a little bit of a fib. I'm not there yet. I will be flying in tomorrow on the 25th. I will be out at the terminal on the 26th, and of course I'll be there for the 27th as well. I hear some of us might even be watching an Oregon Duck versus Penn State football game after the Jamboree. So, come look us up, man. Come say hi. If you've ever even so much as just clicked on this podcast just to listen, even if it was just once, I'd love to meet you, shake your hand, and say thank you. As far as those of you that have donated a ton of time to this podcast, of course, come on up, say hi, shake hands, sit down, chat a little bit. We might even be recording some live podcast segments right there at the Jamboree. If we can make it happen, we will do it. It's exciting stuff. So make sure, once again, go find that text message. It came through from the company on September 10th and get RSVP'd so we know how many ribs and chicken Matt Cleach is going to be making. He's going to be standing over that grill all day long, and I cannot wait. You know, we come out here and we chin wag a lot about our exploits in the kitchen and how good we are and how I like to talk about how great I do at my tailgate with all the fare. I'm not even coming close to approaching the scale of what Matt Cleach is going to be doing here in just a few days. So very exciting stuff. The third annual Liquid Employee Jamboree. Can't wait for that. What are we getting into today, though? We've got kind of an interesting episode here because I was looking back at the calendar, and sometimes I forget that we have multiple different facets of the company that we need to pay attention to. And I realized it's been a long time since I got in touch with my buddy Chris Baltushis out at Barto. I got in touch with Corey Lyles as well. Unfortunately, Corey won't be able to join us today. He is on a tropical vacation, and so the last thing on his priority list was a chin wag with this dude right here. So we're going to go ahead and let Corey enjoy vacation, but I do have Chris joining me here in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk a lot about what Barto has going on out there. They're busy, but they're a small group of people, so we kind of try to leave them alone. I don't like to bug Chris very much because every time I talk to him, I know he's just got he's up to his eyebrows and things to do. And that's kind of why we wanted to get him on today. We want to catch up on all that stuff that he's been working on, especially and really, I think kind of the focus of the entire conversation is going to be the Transload facility. Going all the way back to when we started this podcast, the Transload facility was an idea floating around out there. It was a project, and it's come a lot further and a lot closer to fruition over the life of this podcast. And I think it's going to be really cool when we get to talk to Chris here in just a few and hear about how that actually came to fruition. Cool that it's up and we're all high-fiving about that. Great. But there was a ton of work, years worth of work that went into that getting that transload facility ready, So I'm excited to talk to Chris about it. Always a great conversation with him, and we don't get him on this podcast enough. So let's go ahead and turn it over to him right now. Stay tuned at the end of the show for even more. And you know what? Sometimes I like to give you more on the tease, but this time I'm just not gonna. You're gonna have to wait and see. Enjoy my conversation with Barto Terminal Manager Chris Baltushis right now.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
I'm always happy when we get to check in with the folks out at Barto, and they're a busy bunch, so it doesn't happen often, but we got one today. Here, joining us on the Liquid Trucking Podcast is Barto Terminal Manager Chris Baltushis. Chris, it's always a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for the time today.
Oh, you bet. Always glad to chat with you.
Yeah, sometimes with tongue firmly planted in cheek, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Chris, I'm just curious because I was in a meeting the other day with some of the gentlemen from the Plattsmouth terminal, and they mentioned, hey, we haven't checked in with Barto in a while. You should give Chris a call and just talk to him about the Transload facility. And I remember the very first time you and I met in person before this podcast ever started, we were discussing the Transload facility. So it's been a long time coming. Can you walk us through the process a little bit and let us know how progress is going out there?
Well, in just about a year, we've taken it from 3 loads a day, one chemical vendor for a specific product, namely sulfuric acid, to 3 different sulfuric acid vendors and added caustic and sodium bisulfite. So we went from basically 3 loads a day to 11 to 15 a day coming out of there right now.
Wow. And what kind of work and dedication does it take to have that kind of growth in under a year, Chris?
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of beating the streets, talking to vendors, trying to get commitments, trying to show them that we are the best out there and we can handle anything you throw at us. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of a guy trying to make sure you can get all that brought in here and then figure out the logistics of it once it's here. But we've got a pretty good team. Josh and Gabe have been pretty forgiving, letting me build this thing to get it to where it is, and it's still growing. I've got another vendor coming online. It'll bring us more product. I've got some other stuff in the pipeline coming. I anticipate this facility, hopefully over the next year, we should be at 20 to 25 loads a day out of there.
Wow. That's amazing, Chris. Well, listen, we want to definitely give you your just due here on the show because I don't want to say Barto is a forgotten way out in the boonies organization. We're constantly thinking about you guys here, but we know you're busy, so I try to stay out of your hair. I think that you deserve a hell of a pat on the back for this whole thing, and I know that a lot of the other guys do. Talk to me about the biggest challenge that you faced in getting this thing going, whether it was at the outset or something that you're kind of dealing with now. What's been something that has really been a roadblock that you've had to overcome with this whole thing?
There really hasn't been. Like I said, the owners there, Josh and Gabe, they've been very forgiving. I mean, they understand. You got to get them to come here, you got to build it. That's just the way it is. You're not gonna show up at an empty parking lot and try to get service. You know what I mean? You gotta go somewhere where there's infrastructure, and they've been pretty good about that. They've kind of let me, design it and sit down with the welders and build it. And as I need to grow it, I add a little bit here and add a little bit there. But they've been pretty good. Really, I mean, there's no real hurdle. It's just getting the customers to commit. I guess that'd be the biggest hurdle. But
yeah,
they come, they take a look at it, they tour the facility. I sit down and visit with them. By the time it's said and done, we shake hands and contracts are sent out. So, they like what they see. They like what we can do. They like the fact that we are a one-stop shop with the trucking company, the tank wash, and the transload. So, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's just going to grow from here.
That's great, man. I'm so happy to hear that. And, offering different things to different customers is always a great way to grow the business. And I know that you guys have been excited about this for a long time. Can you talk to me a little bit about the build that actually went in? You said you were working with the welders and stuff. I think that when I saw the facility out there, it was in the very beginning of the idea. What's changed out there? What have you built out that you could see with the naked eye just driving by?
Well, I mean, you saw we had just the first little rack there with the one concrete pad. Since then, there's another rack that holds 4 rail cars in series, 2 different chemicals on each side of the rack, and 2 transload pipes. And then I've added a 3rd pipe to that rack. So driving by, you see this 200-foot long yellow platform with piping and rail cars and everything sitting alongside of it. So, we went from just one little rack and a little shed to this 200-foot platform that you can hook all these cars up to.
Really changed the look of things out there, I assume.
It has. It really has. And it's streamlined. It's efficient. It works pretty well. We've gone, like I said, leaps and bounds over what we were a year ago.
What's, you talked about the future and maybe within a year being to 20 to 25 loads. Do you anticipate that growth to just continue into the future, or is there kind of a cap that you're looking at as far as loads per day, Chris?
Well, it'll cap out when we run out of room.
Okay.
That's what's going to happen there. It's gonna run out of room eventually, but we're able to move stuff around, to bring in a few odds and ends here and there. But that's it. That's about the ceiling. That's where the ceiling is going to be, is when we run out of room, we're going to have to stop saying yes or stop building.
Sure. Which is a good problem to have, right? We've run out of room. We've used the resources we have, and we're using them to make money. So it's a good problem to have, but eventually one day it will reach the end of the build out, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it will. We'll overtax that facility before, too much longer with the way these customers are coming at us. It's going to be neat to see over the next few years how big it actually gets, and then hopefully I can, keep getting my notebook out and drawing new ways to make it work, so.
Absolutely. Well, talk to me about the sense of accomplishment. Do you feel that big sense of accomplishment now that you've grown to where you're at, or do you kind of feel like you're still at the beginning of this race and figuring it out, Chris?
Well, in all honesty, the way I look at it is I'm here to do my job, so accomplishment aside, it's all about keeping this company moving forward. At the end of the day, that's what it is. You got to make sure your drivers are happy, your drivers are paid, the owners are happy, they're getting their return on investment. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not really looking at accomplishment, and I'm just looking at, what we can do to keep moving forward.
Well said. Well, I can tell you from my side of things, the drivers are happy, man. They, one of the happiest groups of drivers I've ever talked to out here at Liquid Trucking, and the Barto guys included. So you're doing a good job on that front, man. And I appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk me through what's been going on out there with the transload facility. And I'm excited to see where it goes in the future. But forgive me for turning the conversation a bit away from work here, because it's been so long since I've caught up with you. I know you've been busy over the summer, but I'm hoping that you got out there on the bike and took a few rides.
Oh yeah, I've been out quite a few times this year. It's nice to get out with your knees in the breeze and just, cruising around. It's been a good summer so far.
Have you taken any notable road trips, or is it just kind of been mostly a relax and cruise type summer for you?
Just relax and cruise type summer. I don't get into the big trips much anymore. Get too much other stuff going on. Too many irons in the fire,
I hear you, man. It feels like that even with me, and I don't have nearly as many irons in the fire as you do, Chris. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Any new bike purchases in the garage or anything like that to tell us about?
No, not yet. Not yet. I've been looking around for another one, though. I got the itch to buy another one. So
okay, well, we'll have to catch back up with you, Chris, when you do get a new piece of equipment in the garage. And I guess I know you're busy. I know that we kind of shoehorned this in on short notice, so I'm trying to respect your time as best I can here. Is there anything else that you want to catch us up on, Chris, before I let you get back to grinding?
no, I think we're pretty good. I mean, it just business is up, business is down. We're just trying to do the best we can, keep everybody moving. I mean, like I said, trying to find new ways to bring in more customers and keep drivers going. There's really nothing new. It's always the same thing every day, man.
All right. Well, again, I really appreciate every minute that we get to spend with you on here, Chris, and thanks for catching us up with everything going on out there at Barto. I'll let you get back to work, okay?
All right, Marcus. Good talking to you, man.
Good talking to you too, Chris. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
So we got just a little bit of extra time here today, which is always a blessing for us when we run into extra time on the podcast. And today it's a special blessing because the last time we wanted to do this segment, we actually got to talking and just having such a good conversation that we had to scrap it. We didn't have time for it. So here we are, making up for past transgressions. And joining me here today, a couple of liquid drivers on the line right now. First up, we got Mike Stanfield joining us back here. Mike, always a pleasure, man. How you doing out there?
Pleasure's all mine, man. I'm all right, dude. I just got parked, so we can talk here.
Perfect. Also joining us right now is a man that was upset that we weren't able to get to this last time because he really enjoys this stuff, and that's Michael Donut Duncan. What's up, Donut? How you doing out there, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Currently just sitting at the park waiting on people to meet us.
Perfect. Well, I ran out of time last time I had you on, Donut, and we were going to do one of our favorite news segments here on the show, which is Am I the Asshole? We find stories by combing the internet of people asking the internet, am I the asshole in this situation? Now, I want to point out something that I think that Mike and Donut will agree with here. If you are sitting there looking in the mirror wondering if you are the asshole, might I suggest taking it to family and friends and people that you trust rather than dumping it on the internet for a response. But it also serves for great content for things like a podcast. So thank you, people out there that think you're the asshole. And thank you for asking the question. We'll do our best here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast to answer it for you. And so, gentlemen, because we're a little bit strapped for time here, I'm just going to jump right in. But I did find one that has to do with trucking. And I don't, just on the surface, have an answer here. I don't think I know enough about the job. And that's amazing because we're almost 100 episodes in here. But let me read you this coming from a truck driver who calls himself Savage Mocha. He says, I came up on an oversized load on a 2-lane. One lane headed east, one headed west. I wait patiently for a downhill. The other truck is carrying the large pole for a windmill. You guys have seen these, right? Just the kind of the midsection for the windmill. Some of the largest oversized loads that you'll see on the road. So that kind of sets up the scenario for you. We got one normal tractor trailer. We got one oversized load hauling pieces for a windmill. He says, I can see another semi up ahead on the hill in front of me cresting the hill, but he hasn't gone down it. He's driving along the top of the hill, and I think that gives me about 1 minute and 30 seconds to pass. As I pull out into the oncoming lane, the oversized load speeds up just enough to prevent me from passing on the downhill. I'm going 70 miles an hour, but my governor prevents me from going any faster. I drop down to about 68, and he keeps pace with me, even though I'm passing him like about a foot per second. As I'm about to pass him, I have to stop so I don't head on another semi as I pass him on an uphill. I give him the horn because he never bothered to slow down and would rather I have head on with another semi than lose his spot on the road. Okay, so a little confusing there, but it looks like the driver riding got back in behind the oversized load, let the oncoming traffic pass, and then passed him again while he was going uphill, at which time he honked his horn at him. He says, I do understand this is the responsibility of the person passing to pass safely. However, what's the point of preventing someone else from passing you when it could have been done safely in the first place if you would have just slowed down for a couple of seconds? I was understandably upset, but I'm wondering if this is my fault and my anger with the other driver is unjust. Who better to come in and talk about this type of thing than a couple of guys that are driving trucks all day? Donut, I know you've been waiting to sink your teeth into one of these, man, so I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this situation, man?
Well, the oversized is a heavier load, and you're going to pick up speed regardless going down the hill. But if you look over and you see somebody trying to pass you, and they're like trying to move their speed, trying to gauge their speed, trying to get around, and you match them, the guy trying to pass you is not the asshole. It's definitely you.
Interesting. Okay, and Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, on par. I mean, honestly, if you could see another truck come in the opposite direction, though, dude should have waited. You know what I mean? There's no sense in trying to push it and try to squeeze by an oversized load when there's traffic obviously coming the other way. But on the other sense, it is common courtesy out here on the road. If a dude's trying to pass you, freaking slow down, let him get past you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that big of a deal. You're going to be slowing down anyways going up the hill. Might as well just let him pass you and get it over with. You know, so yeah, dude that had the oversized load was being a total dickhead. He should have just slowed down and let guy pass.
Okay, I kind of hear similarities from both of what you guys are saying there. Is it like, there's a situation here where both people are kind of the asshole, but at the same time, in this particular situation, you could kind of see where maybe slowing down a little bit with the oversized load is the right thing to do. But that being said, Mike, you mentioned only 1 minute and 30 seconds to pass somebody in a fully loaded big rig might not be enough time with oncoming traffic headed down on you.
Exactly.
Interesting. Well, let's go through a couple of comments here because I always like to read the comments just for entertainment. I don't try to take anything from them most of the time because, as we all know, comment sections are blood-soaked hellscapes on the internet. But this one did provide me just a little bit of context that I want to run by you guys. This guy, his name's Illustrious Leak, which just sounds terrible. He says, if it was a tower section of a windmill, depending on which section he was hauling, he's easily 200,000 pounds or more. He's over 100,000 pounds empty. Downhill, it's very hard to slow down. He says, I drive one of these and I often kick on the Jake and feather the brake pedal around 60 unless I see another hill is directly ahead. Then I let gravity do its thing. If it's constant hills, I'm not going to be getting on my brakes so that you can pass. Chances are you won't accelerate quickly enough, and I'm heating my brakes up for no reason. Donut, what's your take on that comment?
It's like I was saying, they are heavy, but like what he was saying is the guy was pacing him. He's like, he tried to slow down to get back behind, and the oversized slows down right with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes against what this gentleman was saying.
Right. So, and that actually, that brings up the good point is he said, like, it makes sense that a truck this heavy would speed up going down the hill, but when he slowed down, the oversized load also slowed down, which means he was willing to slow down. He just wasn't doing it for the purpose of letting the guy pass.
At least it doesn't seem that way from the information we had. Maybe the reason he slowed down is because he just noticed. He looked out the window and just noticed. Oh, look, there's someone. Maybe I should slow down so you can get by.
Maybe he's one of those guys that's just zoned out the entire time he's driving and doesn't see things until they're right on top of him. Let's hope not, since he's carrying around 200,000 plus. but could be one of those situations.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was like, that's a bad load to zone out on.
Yeah, dude. Anything where you're covered with those oversized load stickers, you probably want to be Johnny on the spot. But this is interesting. I want to bring up something that this actually brings up to me, because as a younger kid, I grew up in a rural area. There were no freeways or no highways where I grew up. It was all 2-lane, one headed east, one headed west, or, vice versa. And every now and then there's a passing lane that opens up. But as a young kid, I was not scared to pass at all. And I drove a 4-cylinder. I would drop it into third gear and I would give it everything she's got and I would get past. Now I drive a rig with a 350 in it. I've got a V8. It's a full-size truck. And even though I know I've got way more power and I can accelerate a lot quicker in that thing, I don't really like to pass people on 2 lanes. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, you're doing something that's so much more complicated than driving a Ford Focus or a Chevy Silverado, and you've got the fluid dynamics to deal with. What are your guys' takes on passing people on a 2-lane in this situation to begin with? I mean, it sounds like you're already doing 70. Do you need to pass this guy? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I don't pass on 2 lanes like that unless it's like an actual tractor on the side, who's hugging like the shoulder and, the road a little bit.
Right.
And I can clearly see, and I am able to pass them without a shadow of a doubt because they're going pretty slow, and I know that I can get them around pretty quick. Mm-hmm. That's the only time that I will pass on a 2-lane road. Other than that, it's super dangerous. And I mean, if you're going 70 already, dude, just chill.
Just deal with it. Yeah, you're not going to go any faster with that governor, so just chill out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just chill, homie. It's not that big of a deal.
Good take there. Donut, How about you? How do you feel about passing on 2 lanes?
I'm already going 70. I'm already pushing my governor already.
Right.
So, like, there's no reason. If you're not doing, like, 15 under, I'm not trying to pass you.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's too, like, if you've ever seen a video of a head-on collision, whether it be with a truck or a passenger vehicle, and we all have, let's face it, the internet, once again, blood-soaked hellscape, we covered that. It makes you so incredibly respectful of how big and how fast and how dangerous everything is going on. And then you take that down to, hey, how wide is a lane on your standard road? And then you only double that, and that's the room we're talking about at 70 miles an hour to get one rig past another. And we just hope that there's not like a corner that you don't see, or another rig, or a deer, or a kid, or any number of things that step out into that lane when you're in the oncoming side of it, man. I'm glad to hear you guys say that. Can I just offer you both that? Like, thank you for helping me sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that I don't have to be worried about you guys passing on 2 lanes all the time.
That's us, though.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, you first.
And most of the time on 2-lane roads like that is usually, back road country roads, and they're usually not 70 miles an hour anyways. They're usually 55 or 60.
Right.
So, I mean, the fact that you're doing 70, and let's just say that it is 70 on a 2-lane road, is dangerous in itself.
Yeah, and I would think an oversized load too. That goes for both of these guys. Like, maybe even more so for the oversized load than for the standard truck here, right? Because you're not slowing that thing down. 200,000 pounds at 70 miles an hour. What's that take you? 8 miles to stop it? Like, I don't know the math, but it's got to be just an enormous distance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's nutty.
Yeah, well, hey, there's certain people, maybe not the two of you, but I could argue that it's nutty to take that job hauling those windmills around the country in the first place. All right,
yeah, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, it takes a special type of person for sure, man. Okay, so
but I'd never do hazmat.
Well, and here we are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, fellas, I think we've established here that. And it pains me a little bit to say this because I know they serve the country just like you other drivers do, but it kind of sounds like the oversized load here was the asshole in this situation, at least from just a safety goggles standpoint. If we're only looking at this from a safety perspective, you could kind of say both guys are assholes, right? That's a lot of speed. Oh, yeah. That's kind of a dangerous maneuver. I will say this, doesn't surprise me at all that I found this on Reddit. That if you want to know what not to do, go to Reddit and just read people's stories. You'll really learn a lot about how not to go through this life. So
like, honestly, my partners read Reddit stories to me all the time, and I'm just in here like, what? Honestly, I'm surprised people still use Reddit. I thought that was for like old people or teenagers.
I resemble that remark. Yeah, it is actually for old people. It's for old people like me to look at society in a snapshot and go, what the hell's going on with these kids? And that's, that's the tall and the short of it, guys.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do. That's the internet in general. Once again, you gotta love the blood-soaked hellscape that it is. But fellas, I appreciate you jumping in here with me for a few minutes today. Always fun to have you around. And I want to encourage, while I've got you guys here and all the rest of the drivers out there, while you're listening, if you have a scenario where you're curious, if you're the asshole, we would love to save you from the blood-soaked hellscape of the internet and just talk about it here on the podcast. That way you don't have to open yourself up to a comment section where people can be anonymous and, let's face it, rude. So, you know, if you guys ever have one of these, I think that that Donut and Mike would echo the sentiment here. Send them in, podcast@liquidtrucking.com, because if nothing else, I know that Donut is ripe for this all the time. Like, I could have called him at 3 a.m. this morning and asked him this question, and we would have had a great conversation.
I got your message at like almost 2. And responded like, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank God I had my phone on silent, because I would have gotten that message like, you know, shortly after, what was it, right around 1 o'clock my time, I think. So
I think so.
Hey, that's exactly why I do it. I want you drivers to know, if you're up in the middle of the night and you think about me and you want to text me, do it, because my phone ain't going to ring. So just feel free. Okay. Contact me 24/7. Fellas, thank you again. I appreciate it. Any final thoughts from you today real quick before I let you go? Donut, we'll start with you.
Everybody be safe. Like we were passing on a 2-lane. If it's not a tractor and they're not doing below 15, don't risk it.
There you go.
It's not safe.
Sage advice. How about from you, Mike Stanfield? Final thoughts before you get out of here.
Yeah, ditto. Also, if you're looking in the mirror and you're asking yourself, am I the asshole? Then you probably are the asshole.
Yeah, it's got to be like a 75% hit rate, right? If you've come to that conclusion that you need to stand in the mirror and ask the question, self-reflection is the biggest part of today's lesson, I think, fellas. So, Mike,
I don't ever ask the question. I'm pretty sure I am the asshole.
Yeah, I'm okay with me being an asshole.
Well, you know, if my wife hadn't have bought me the shirt with the name tag on it that says asshole, then maybe I would feel different about that. But she believes it. I believe it. We all believe it. So
I feel like the question I ask myself is, am I the bigger asshole in this situation? There you go.
There you go. Well, it looks like I'm very well maybe the asshole here, because what a fantastic conversation I had there with Mike Stanfield and Michael Donut Duncan. For some reason, we lost the last, minute of the interview to the ether. It just got cut off. So call me the asshole, but big thanks to Mike Stanfield again and Michael Donut Duncan again for their participation. We'll keep these rolling. We always have fun with them. And again, if you've got one that you would like to send in, please do send it in. podcast@liquidtrucking.com. All right, real quick before we wrap up here, I do want to bring you guys a little bit of news. First and foremost, I will say we don't cover a lot of breaking news on this show, as you guys know, because we record these episodes a couple weeks in advance. So chances are by the time I bring you the news, you probably already heard about it. However, I will make a special exception anytime that it's going to affect our industry. And I think today's news definitely will have some sort of effect on our industry. Of course, we're going to talk about it anytime there's something going on big at any one of our ports here in the United States. And today we head on down to Long Beach, the port of Long Beach in California, where more than 60 cargo containers crashed into the water when they toppled from a ship berthed at California's port of Long Beach, prompting authorities to suspend operations at the terminal as crews work to secure that scene. It's pretty wild, actually. If you haven't seen the video, definitely look it up online. It's all over the place. Every major news organization has it. And by the way, thanks to Transport Topics for this story that we're reading you right here. But if you've never seen or played the game Jenga before, which I'm sure at this point everybody has, this looked like somebody went for like the middle Jenga stick. And like they shoved it out with a hammer rather than a toothpick, okay? I've never seen the scale of this many they're cargo boxes, yeah, but they look like train cars. And they are just tumbling into the sea. So far, not a lot of information on what was actually in those. However, there have been reports of clothing, household items, and some furniture floating. As we speak right now, they're on the scene not only investigating how this happened, but also trying to clean it up. Fortunately, no one was injured here. There was one open-air barge that was damaged, but as far as people are concerned, all the people are fine, and right now they're turning their attention to just trying to drag some of the cargo containers that haven't sunk to back over to where they can get them on dry land. Of course, some of them are sitting at the bottom of the ocean right now, and hey, I don't know how they ship them, but if you got any Chevy Silverados in any of those, they're going to have some slight water damage. I might be interested in throwing out an offer. I know a guy. He's really good with rust. He grew up on the Oregon coast. Imagine that. It says here authorities will lead the effort to determine the cause of the incident. That is, pretty standard stuff. Flexport, a shipping logistics firm, said in a statement it is coordinating with carrier Zim and port officials to identify impacted shipments and assist customers. Flexport ranks number 33 on the Transport Topics Top 100 list of the largest logistics companies in North America. Number 43 on the ocean freight carriers list, and number 31 among air freight forwarders. So Flexport, a big name in the shipping industry, especially when we're talking about air and sea. The Portuguese flagged Mississippi, the ship that the containers fell off of, was a post-Panamax vessel with a capacity of 5,550 20-foot equivalent units. It arrived at the port shortly before dawn, according to the data compiled by Bloomberg. It departed the Yanishan port in Shenzhen, China on August 26th. So a pretty quick trip across the pond there just to spill all your goodies into the ocean. That sucks, man. I hope they get it cleaned up quick. Obviously, the reason I'm talking about it here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast is, hey, it's a port. A lot of trucks going to go to that port and get all that stuff off of all those shipping containers and drive it to Walmart or wherever it needs to go. And unfortunately, right now, a lot of that stuff is floating in the harbor. So we'll bring you any updates on this. It's not looking like really anything is going to come of it other than just there'll be an investigation. Somebody will get blamed. Somebody will get sued. Money will change hands and everything will go on business as usual. But it's a transport topic for sure. And once again, I want to give Transport Topics their flowers for bringing us that reporting. Laura Curtis from Bloomberg News, the one actually behind the letters in the story there. So as I said, anything else comes up, we will definitely be letting you know in the most breaking news fashion that we can here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast. That's going to pretty much wrap up episode 95 for us. Great stuff here on today's show. I am going to poo-poo all the rest of it, though, and make sure that I give you one last really loud announcement. We will be enjoying ourselves at the 3rd annual Liquid Trucking Employee Jamboree in just 3 short days. My party horns had a hiccup there, but you get the idea. I'm so excited to be out there joining you guys. Back on September 10th, you received a text message from the company asking you to RSVP so we know how many hot dogs and chicken thighs that Matt Cleach needs to make. You got to get on there right now. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, but you're planning on coming, please do go RSVP by clicking that link in the text message that came from the company back on September 10th. I'm sitting here looking at the website right now. It's easy. It's just a couple of questions, a couple of clicks, and you'll be good to go. So get on there, RSVP. Come out and meet me at the 3rd annual Liquid Employee Jamboree. There's going to be a bounce house for the kids. There's all sorts of food out there. We're going to have the 1st annual Liquid Trucking Truck Rodeo, and somebody is going to get an all expenses paid trip headed to, I should stop short of saying all expenses paid. I don't think they're going to cover your gambling budget, but you are going to head to Las Vegas to compete in the Truck Rodeo Nationals if you win the Truck Rodeo here at the Liquid Employee Jamboree. So all sorts of exciting stuff happening, plus a mouth that just won't quit on the microphone. That's yours truly. I'll be out there, so come see me. Really looking forward to it, guys. Can't wait to meet you all here in just a couple of days. Drive safe getting back to close to Plattsmouth for the Jamboree. And as always, keep the shiny side up. We'll talk to you this Saturday, live and in person at the Employee Jamboree. Be safe out there, Liquid Trucking.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.